Hello and welcome to another episode of the Poverty Franchise Podcast. It's PJ rocking with, damn, I was looking at my camera as I deserve, Greenville Triumph, my local club, my new local club. They play in USL League One. They're a minor league team. Fun games. Go check them out if you're in Greenville, like the sport. Their jerseys are nice too. What can I say? I like jerseys. Was watching Liverpool Crystal Palace out the right corner of my eye. Great game so far. Down 10 men. Darren Nunez is going to be out next week against Manchester United. Does that really matter? No. But Liverpool, I think, will be in deep trouble for that first place spot if they do open the season with 3 straight draws. That would not be good. They can't pull. First, they're going to be lucky to pull a point out of this with Crystal Palace being down 10 men and all. But opening the season with 3 points when your title contenders are going to maybe open the season with minimum 7, maximum 9, which is Arsenal. I don't think they're title contenders, but it's still 6-point difference to open the season out of. That's not a good place to start. So they somehow with 10 men, are able to pull this off. That'd be really, really good. If not, however, they will have to dig themselves out of that hole and hope for mistakes from Manchester City. We'll come back to football in a second because we're going to go to American football. And I'm first going to start about the Roquan situation. Again, it's not really gone well. I think the Bears should just pay him, but I also think Roquan Smith does need an agent. It's gotten kind of personal. It's gotten kind of nasty. I just kind of hope the situation is resolved. I would like for him to be on the Bears still. I don't think we should cast him aside on this young team, especially with how the Bears look. Fields has no weapons, so the defense is going to do a lot of carrying, giving the offense favorable field position. And we got an offense that has to keep him off the field as much as possible. That's what we're working with. But I hope he ends up on the Bears still. I would really be disappointed if he's not on the Bears at the end of this as well. And I think I'll move immediately next into basketball. I'll probably go back to American football. I'm going to talk about the college preseason poll. Give a good look at Clemson's schedule since I am Clemson grad. You got to rock with the school at all times. Also, PJ Hall, get healthy. That November is going to be hell for college basketball for us. Kevin Durant might retire. Some reports says if he doesn't get a trade. I think it's bullshit, but hey, weirder things have happened in the NBA. I think if I'm an NBA franchise, I really don't want to bring KD into my locker room at this point. I mean, he's a great player. He's one of the best players to ever play, and I still, to this day, will die on the hill that Kevin Durant is the best natural scorer in NBA history. Also, the poison today. Mexican Coke. Non-alcoholic, once again. One of these days, my poison will be the real sugar. That's where it's at. But for teams like the Bulls and Celtics, who could really gain from a Kevin Durant trade, why would they do it? At this point, I mean, the teams are steady as is. There's no need to break it up. The Bulls have a much bigger want for Kevin Durant, I think, if they were to want to go for it than the Celtics would. The Celtics just did nothing but piss off Jaylen Brown. I think we went over this. I don't think it's a good idea, but it is what it is on that point. And for the lack of a better word, I think Kevin Durant is just poison at this point. And at the end of the day, it's just a shit situation at the end of the day. For the Nets, that is, because the Nets have no stars left, and that's just not good for them. Back to the NFL. We're jumping back and forth today. Disjointed, I know. I ate some hot Cheetos, so ignore me being a bit stuffed up for some reason. Like, quickly, I was doing fine before I ate them, and then I guess I'm just too mixed for that. Um, I have watched no preseason football. I don't plan on watching preseason football. First NFL game I watch will be the regular season opener. I don't like preseason football. I think it's ass. I will not watch it. I left after halftime of the only spring game I went to. I don't like preseason anything. Shit's ass. I don't like it. However, from what I've read and the clips I've seen, Malik Willis looks nice. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter the whole year. I think he has a very short leash this year. I think give it a few bad games and Derrick Henry says something questionable to the media. No more Ryan for at least a couple games. I think the 49ers are ready to die on the hill of Trey Lance, whether they like it or not. If they can find that trade partner for Jimmy Garoppolo, which, if someone gets hurt this year, or if Tua sucks, Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded. So if one of the contenders' quarterbacks gets hurt, or if the Seahawks just really hate Drew Lock and Geno Smith that much, or if the Deshaun Watson gets an extended, but Jimmy Garoppolo would want a long-term. Washington is another place I can see him going as well. The Panthers could be an option if Baker Mayfield's injury isn't far more severe than what we thought. So sure as fuck I'm going back to Sam Darnold. The Dolphins seem like the first panic button. Also, again, any team with like a great quarterback who gets hurt, who has like a contending team, teams like the Buccaneers, probably not the Chiefs, but teams like older quarterbacks, the Buccaneers, the Broncos, the Raiders. The Eagles could also see as making a trade, not in that genre either. The Giants could also possibly make a trade, again, not in the same genre. I don't know why. The Patriots sure as hell won't. Those teams might do it as well. But Malik Willis looked nice. Tavon Walker looked good. Jags still look like shit, but hey, and whatever works. But preseason football just isn't my jam. I don't like it. It's good for your depth guys. I understand the purpose of preseason football. I think it can be 1 or 2 games. It's just a nice little tune-up before you get into a lot of the roster stuff. A lot of the battles are won in training camp. Preseason football is kind of a shit show. It's what happens when a bunch of guys only know each other for about 3 to 4 weeks before playing football. It's bad. It's really bad. But it is what it is. And then I'll move over, take a look at the AP Top 25 poll that opened the season. I know Clemson is 4 in this list. Alabama is number 1 per the usual preseason rankings. It seems to be an inevitability that Alabama is the top of these rankings every year, it feels like. Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, Notre Dame 5, A&M 6, Utah 7. I think that's the biggest surprise. I mean, the Pac-12 is pretty weak, but Utah is a good team. Michigan 8, Oklahoma 9, Baylor 10, Oregon 11, Oklahoma State 12, NC State 13, 14 USC, 15 Michigan State, 16 Miami, 17 Pittsburgh, 18 Wisconsin, Arkansas 19, Kentucky 20, Ole Miss 21, Wake 22, Cincy 23, Houston 24, BYU 25. The teams I think that are probably overrated on here. Miami, I don't have any faith in Miami until they start playing. So Pittsburgh, I don't think they're going to come back strong this year with the loss of Kenny Pickett. I think they're going to drop out the rankings pretty fast. I think the only teams underrated on here, probably NC State. And I think Clemson might be overrated. I don't think Clemson should be top 4 after what we did last season. It just ensures us as Clemson that we will not fall so low that we are not top 25 by the end of the year. Because I think it's argued that NC State is returning a pretty solid team as well. And NC State is our second hardest game on the schedule. Because at least that's at home. Notre Dame away is the hardest game on Clemson's schedule. And that's the game I think we're going to lose. Because Clemson actually does not have good experiences in South Bend. And Just how it is. Fuck South Bend. Pete Buttigieg is catching a stray today on my sports show. Who would have thought? Not I. But as the AP does, they protect the bigger teams so they can always not fall too far out so they can still get the premium bowl dates. And the only team I actually have faith in Ole Miss. I have faith in Ole Miss every year. And they end up being kind of mid, but they're really fun to watch. And Oklahoma being over USC is really interesting. That's a real interesting shit right there. I don't know how good Oklahoma's going to be this year with a new coach and losing like half their roster. Like, I like Brent Venables. I loved him as the DC at Clemson. I just don't know how he's going to do without Dabo holding the team together, Dabo's recruiting network, and then the offensive network that they had at Clemson. Well, at least before last year with Tony Elliott kind of fucking the boat last year, being shit OC. But we're not going to talk about that. And the first four out of the rankings are Tennessee, Texas, Iowa, and Penn State. Yeah, Texas should not be fucking rated. We know this. Iowa probably should be rated. I don't think I'm going to take Houston, or with Cincy losing a lot of players this year. So I don't think they're coming out. They're not, for starters, they're not going back to the CFB. I think they'll win the American for sure, but I don't think they're going to go back. Wake also, I think they were kind of a flash in the pan last year. I think they were a good team. I think they're not going to regress to what Wake usually is at football, which is dog shit. They're going to regress probably back into the middle of the pack, like above teams like, obviously above teams like Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse in the ACC, but not to the level of teams like NC State, Clemson, and Notre Dame. Well, Notre Dame is in the ACC, but basically, affiliate member. The Michigan being 8, I like it in the beginning. We'll have to see how the Big Ten's always a fucking massacre of shit football that's amazing to watch. Big Ten football is my drug. I was a big Northwestern fan before I ended up going to Clemson, because I'm from the Chicago area. And wow, though I've watched a lot of terrible football in my life, but it's been really fun terrible football. I can't really speak to how bad it is, but it is what it is. We got to play the games first. We got to play the games. And getting a quick look at Clemson's schedule. Georgia Tech week 1 in Atlanta. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter that it's being played basically as a home game for Georgia Tech, not in their home stadium. They are going to lose. And it's probably going to be more of a home game for Clemson than anything. However, how long does DJ last? I think DJ will get pulled some point during the Wake Forest game week 4 or some point during the NC State game week 5. And Cade will have a good tune-up against Furman and Louisiana Tech. Fucking hopefully he does. Holy shit! If we lose, if those games are close, fuck everything else. So sound the alarms. Shit has gone dangerously wrong. But I think Clemson will not lose to NC State 2 years in a row. I think at home we got it. Go up to Boston, probably win that game. I do not know if Phil Dracovic is healthy or if he's even still playing for Boston College. Because I know he was hurt all of last year, basically. Yeah, if Phil Dracovic is healthy. Phil Dracovic is a good quarterback. I'm very high on him, actually. I think he has very good NFL potential if his body doesn't betray him. It'll be a good game. I think Clemson will come out with the victory still. Clemson does good up in Boston usually. The trap game is that road trip, that swing right back to Tallahassee the next week. Florida State may not be that great of a team. However, especially because I don't like Mike Norvell as a coach at all. I think he's kind of a fraud. That's his name, man. Norvell from Memphis originally. But it's more of the travel schedule. It's just kind of a trap game. It's the classic trap game scenario. And it's a rivalry at the end of the day. So anything could really happen. That's the third most dangerous game on the schedule to me. behind Notre Dame and NC State. I don't really have faith in Miami beating us. I really don't think highly of Miami at all, especially at home. And South Carolina, we smoke on that pack all day, every day. South Carolina does not run shit, doesn't own shit. This comes in state, and you can't tell me otherwise. But hey, that's just me. Again, unnecessary Columbia, South Carolina slander incoming. But I would not go into South Carolina because I would not leave a great city like Chicago to go to a piece of shit city like Columbia, South Carolina, to go to college. I would have taken my dumb ass to DePaul, Loyola, University of Chicago if I wanted to go into hilarious and more amounts of debt than I can ever dream of, or Northwestern, and stayed my happy ass at home in Chicago, living my best life. But I took myself to a random town in the middle of South Carolina and went to Clemson instead. Because if I was gonna go to an urban college, I'd have stayed my happy ass in Chicago. Leave it at that. The last thing I think I want to talk about, because I think I talked really fast and really deep dive on anything, kind of just sped ran through the all the events of the week. Manchester United. It's not good, and I don't think it's Ten Hag's fault. I don't know. I don't want to steal this. Obviously, I was watching HITC Sports video on it this morning when I was waking up. Also, we want the Irish guy back, but that's neither here nor there. They don't have the personnel, is what he said, to run the system. I think they're just not motivated to play, and it's just a haphazard built roster. It feels like. You have really good pieces interconnected by really shit pieces. De Gea's going through one of his moments where he looks like one of the worst keepers on earth. He'll bounce back. It happens, I think, every other year. It feels like De Gea has like a couple just like mind-numbingly bad games, but he'll work his way through it. I can't blame him. His defense is dog shit in front of him. Harry Maguire has to be benched and sold immediately, and they need to find a center back replacement immediately. And the attack, their attack on paper, Rashford, Ronaldo, I think Martial is still there. And, yeah, he's still there. Their attack is solid. Their issue really comes down to the motivation. I don't know if it's Ten Hag didn't get the team probably motivated, or was losing to Brighton Hope Albion week 1 too much of a gut punch, and then this is morale is as low. It can only go up from here though. The morale. I think if they can get a point from Liverpool, that's all they need. All they need is a point. If they get a point from Liverpool, I think their season will be okay. I think they can get out of this with, again, maybe not Champions League, because Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal, and Manchester City, and Liverpool all look better than them this year. Just without a shadow of a doubt. They all look better this year, right? Another team that's faltering out the game is West Ham, but we'll get to that because they lost to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth beat Aston Villa. Never mind. But West Ham has lost their first 2 games, starting with Everton. But I think the root of the issue might be what he said. They might need some midfielders. I think Ronaldo does not fit on this roster. Ronaldo spent far too much time playing on European competitors to be willing fighting for Europe. At 38 years old, he's ring chasing. He's wasting his fucking time here. I think it'd be probably mutually best for both parties to break away, give some younger dudes some run, see if they're the answer. If not, save the wages you're paying and find someone else. The nostalgia trip did not work out. It is what shit happens at the end of it. Shit just happens. To look at the table real quick before we move on. Right now, Crystal Palace and Liverpool look like they're about to play out to a draw. Only 2 teams have won their first 2 games. City winning against Bournemouth and I forgot who they played week 1. That's really sad. I watched the game too. That's the worst part. West Ham week 1. Then Arsenal having played, I think they played, who the fuck did they play last week? Or did they play yesterday? I watched that game too. My lord. Crystal Palace, and then they played Leicester yesterday. Not yesterday, the 13th. Solid 2 wins, and then Liverpool and Crystal Palace did just finish with a draw. So the match is settled. So Crystal Palace is on 1 point on the year. Liverpool's on 2. Brentford starting out real strong with 4 points. Tottenham with 4 after they played the fiery draw to Chelsea yesterday. Lots of teams at 4, which leaves the only teams to start the season with no points are the first two games are Everton, West Ham, and Man U. Everton has the lowest possible chance of fixing this problem, in my opinion. They're kind of not in a good spot. But hey, weirder things have happened. I really don't want to see Everton relegated. But I think Everton will be fighting for their lives again this year. I think we'll have to check back after 6 or 7 games. That's probably the next time I'll actually talk about the table at length. I'll also probably do a league round, go through the big 5 leagues. I'm going to be real, I don't really watch many other leagues other than the Prem. The Prem has the most convenient schedule to my life right now. And probably the most interesting football, in my opinion. But that's just me, once again. But at the moment, it's just not a conducive. We can't gain much opinions here other than a couple. Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus looks really nice. Zinchenko looks really nice. I think the change of scenery for them is for the best. I wish them both the best. I liked both players. Jesus just never really fit Pep's system, and Zinchenko just needed more run. I really wish we could have got Marc Rusella and Koulibaly for Chelsea. Again, after 2 games, or I think after 1 game for them, they look good. Look like good signings. We'll see how the course of the season treats them, but at the end of the day, Liverpool only having 2 points out of this, not a great start. Again, I think they're going to have to get that win against Man U. And I think a close loss for Man U can help build back the morale, but starting the season 3 games, no points is not a fun place to be. No one wants to be there. But I think they'll have to figure it out. And in other news, really, that's it. That's all we have to talk about today in the sports world. These, as I said before, these episodes are irregular. I do them for fun. I do them because I have time. I do them want to share my opinions to the world, even if they're unwarranted, bad, and ill-informed. I do it just because I can. And because I like sport. I like talking about sport. And I think sport is a great unifier and a great outlet for argument. But at the end of the day, it's your friendly neighborhood Clemson Tiger who happens to be a Chicago Bears fan. And please, God, I want Clemson to just win 1 game in the tournament while I'm alive. But great game out there at Anfield, and hopefully we cannot wait for football to start back up in America. As always, we cannot wait. As always, go Bears. Ethan shouts us out. He's going to be traveling soon. Be on the show less, but hey, pray for his Falcons. Pray for the Falcons, and pray even harder for the Lakers sometimes, because they're going to fucking need it. It's been PJ signing off on the Poverty Franchise Podcast.